Hello, it's Evelyn Olivares again. Welcome back to your business math in just a few minutes. This time we're going to be going around 7 minutes just to explain to you the net present value of in calculations. So again, going back to your resources, go to the website realfocus.com.au and you can download the manuals and the videos from there. So you can go ahead and do that before we start and have them ready for yourself so that you can follow along nicely. So what we're going to be covering in this video is net present value. We're going to also discuss future value or FV and present value, which is PV. The net present value is what we're going to be looking at primarily, and we're working up to that, of course, during the session. So welcome on board. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you, and so you can get a very clear understanding of what this is about, this net present value, and how it's very interesting. So wonderful. What's important to understand here about net present value is the value of $1 today is very different to the value of $1 tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. And $1 received in 1, 2, or 3 years' time is not as valuable as it is in current day. So cash invested in the present time can accumulate a greater sum in the future years if you do your research and you use your formulas in order to look at your net present value, future value, and cash flows. So cash flow and the dollar. When you're looking at a proposal, let's say you needed to buy something for your business. Or invest in some way, you must look at the cash flows in relationship to the value of the dollar today, and also the dollar in the future. So 1, 3, 2, 3, or 4, 5 years from now, whatever time frame you're looking at. It's good practice to justify the value of money you're investing and in time. The terms you're looking at, you want to look at one denomination or one standard, and we do that through these cash flows, present value and future value cash flows. So that's the best way to work it out. Very simple formula here, simple business math. Compound interest, future value equals FV is the future value, of course. The P is the original principal, the original money you're putting in, the money you're investing. Then we have the interest rate for the period, and the N is the number of periods. So the period we usually refer to a period is usually years. So 1, 2, 3, 5 years, etc. So and don't panic. Look, you know what? This is about lots of formulas, but this is rich in formula, and formulas are really, really, really useful to you. So don't be afraid. Don't panic. Just be open and listen and take it all on board. Listen to this as often as you need to get it exactly the way you need to get it. So don't worry for now. This is much easier than it looks. Keeping it really simple, $100 today in the present day. What if you invested that $100 in the bank and they paid you 5% interest per annum? After leaving it there for a year, next year you will have $105, correct? Good. The name of that $5, the interest that you've earned, the bank has paid you, is called future value. So future and present values. Let's look now at Mr. Smith again. So let's say he's got $100 cash. He's decided not to spend it. Instead, he's going to invest it in a building society who are going to pay him 12%. So how much will he have after a year? Well, that's easy. 100 plus 12 is $112. So the formula is, again, the P is the principal interest, the principal investment that you've made. The I is the rate of the interest. The FV is the future value of that investment. So here we go, $100, the present value of the money invested. Then we have 1 times the percentage because it's for 1 year. Then that means that after that calculation, 100 times 1.1 is $112. Imagine this. The relationship between the present value, the P, and the future value, which is FV, in the previous example can also be considered from the opposite end. So suppose Mr. Smith has to pay a debt of $112 at the end of next year, the end of 12 months. He knows that the future value must be available to him in order to pay his debt. So he asks you what he must do now, at the beginning of the year, to be able to pay his debt at year end. Well, the answer from the previous example is obvious, right? So it's $100, but he must invest. But that could be any amount. So how do we go about doing that? The initial principal that he invests is $100, and this is called the present value. Investing this $100 at 12% will give him what he wants to achieve, and that's $112 by year end, by 12 months time. So therefore, the future value, we're going the other way around now. The future value is $112, yeah? So bringing that back to the present value, $112 divided by the 1.12, because the interest rate is still 12%, we now know that he needs to invest $100 today in order to have his $112. That's how you work it backwards. So future versus present values. There are many uses, guys, for present value analysis, especially when a choice needs to be made. You need to make a decision, and it's a decision that based on facts and based on the best possible outcome and the best possible means of deriving that information. So suppose you were offered a choice. Let's say somebody offered you today $200, or they said to you, if you don't take the $200 today, if you wait for 12 months, I will give you $232. Well, how would you know which is the best offer? Think about that. You need to weigh up your options. So, assuming the interest rate is still 12%, option 1 to receive today is $200. Yeah, that's easy. So looking at the future value, the present value is $200 times 1.12% over the 12 months is $224. So that's the option 1, and looking at bringing the future value into today, it's worth $224. That means then that the option 2, they're going to give you $232, is a better option, correct? Because it means you're $8 in front. Now, there is an old proverb that says that a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, and that simply means that I would prefer to take my options immediately, take the cash now, because I don't know what's going to happen in 12 months' time. Yes, that's totally true. But you need to take into consideration the risk factor. So who is it that's offering you this, and weigh up the options of whether you should invest or not. But we're talking from a business perspective, and we're looking at long term. So you need to look at it, and it's more effective for you if you use the present value and the future value formulas. So another way of looking at it, the present value is either $200 today or receive $232 in 12 months. So let's do the calculation the other way around. Let's say I know that in 12 months I'm going to receive $232. So what does that mean in cash today? So we're looking at the future value is $232, and we divide that by 1.12, which of course is the 12%, still remains unchanged. So what that means is, in today's money, I will have in my pocket $207.14 as opposed to $200. So option 2 is actually the higher present value. It's a no-brainer, really. I mean, Mr. Smith would be well advised to invest in waiting 12 months and receive his $232, because if he were to take the $200 today and invest it at 12%, he wouldn't earn $232. He's only going to earn $207, correct? Makes sense, yeah? Let's look at investing in small business. I'm going to keep this very simple initially, just so that you get a really good grasp of an understanding of what this is about. Let's say you're in the business of selling lollipops, and you pay $100 for stock today. So you earn $150 from selling the pops over 1 year. and you earn $70 from selling the old machine after 2 years. That sounds like a good investment, yeah? Because if the net present value is positive, then wouldn't you love to be in the lollipop business? It means that the present value or your earnings is bigger than the present value of your payments. Awesome. Epic win. If the net present value were negative, then it wouldn't be a good idea. It wouldn't be a good decision to move into the lollipop business, perhaps. The last thing you want is for your payments, the money you're paying out, is bigger, is grander than the earnings that's coming in. That wouldn't be cool, yeah? So that would be an epic loss. Not a cool place to be. So future value over extended periods. Back for a moment to Mr. Smith again. He's leaving his investment over several periods, over several years, and he will earn interest on that interest. So he's earning interest on the money that they're paying him, yeah? Fantastic. It's what we call compound interest. So for one period, the formula remains relatively unchanged. Its future value equals the present times 1.12, or whatever it is that they're actually paying you. For 2 periods, it's the same. You just add on the extra year, yeah, which is simple on the screen. So let's look at that formula. These calculations, when we're looking over multiple periods and we're talking about compound interest, we need to look at find a table, because the tables will make things very much easier for you. I've actually put together a small table for you here to give an understanding, but you can pick up these tables anywhere in any financial book. So the future value table of $1. So we've got periods 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have percentages, 1%, 5%, 20% over those years, yeah? So let's look at that calculation again. Let's say that the F equals the formula value. The formula value, of course, there is 2.488, correct? Yep. So let's say you're going to invest $400 for a 5-year period. Based on the table, 5 years, in this case it's 20%, not 12, is 2.488. Check it once more. 5 years, 20%, 2.488. So to calculate that out, it's $400 for the amount you've got today, the present value, multiplied by 2.488 because it's 20% over 5 years, which means now you have $995.20. Let's look at a slightly bigger picture again. You're in business and you need to invest in some machinery or some equipment, yeah? So we're going to look at comparing a machine A and a machine B for you. Again, net present value it's a discounted cash flow analysis. You also have internal rate of return, which is also the same. It's also a discounted cash flow analysis. This video, we're only discussing the net present value. The IRR we'll discuss in some later video. So assume you must make a decision, a business decision, and it's regarding a purchase you need to make. And you have one or two options. We'll use machines as an example. Each machine requires an initial outlay of $25,000. Whether you choose machine A or machine B, it's going to cost you $25,000. Each of those machines have a lifespan of 4 years. So machine A is estimated to produce equal savings of around $10,000 a year, and it's going to reduce your costs over a 4-year period. Machine B will produce no cash savings in the first year, but it will increasingly give you savings for the remainder of its lifespan. Let's look at it. So in the cash flows, machine A, machine B, we've got the period now. The period 0 indicates the outlay we're paying today, which is our initial investment, which is $25,000, and it's the same for both A and B. Machine A is going to give us back $10,000 year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4, consecutively, consistently over 4 years. Machine B, as it turns out and explained, we have no return in year 1, but we do have 5,000 return in year 2, 9,000 in year 3, and 35,000 in year 4. Now, management says that they want a rate of return of 12% per annum, must be 12% per annum. So let's look at the net present value. Again, this is a method of discounting all the future cash flows into the present value, how much it is worth today. And we're using the required rate of return and the discount factor, which is the 12% or the 20%, whatever it is. I think we're looking at 20%. So any cash coming in or going out at the beginning of the first year is zero. We classify that as zero because it's money we're paying out today. So anything to do with initial purchase, any machinery, stock, equipment, all that kind of thing, all expressed in the present value terms. So if we're looking at machine A, we've got $10,000 and it's divided by the 1.12 4 times. Remember the table, 6353. We're looking now at 4-year period at 12% is 0.6353 according to the table. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's what the calculation means. So the return in the first year, second year, third year, 4 year is 10,000, and we're using the table to work that out. Fantastic. So what that means is we're using, in this case, as I said before, the net present value method. The internal rate of return, we'll look at it in a different video. Let's look at it in longhand. So we've put that in as a 25,000, look at the first line there, 25,000 negative because we're outlaying $25,000. This is machine A, so for the next 4 years, it's going to bring us in consistently $10,000 each year. And the second row, we know that the rate of return must be 12%. Yeah, so that's calculated out according to the table. Minus 25,000, we do the calculation, 10,000 divided by the 1.120, etc. for each of those following, each of those 4 years. What that means is, what that calculates out as if you use your calculator, it's a minus 25,000 for our initial outlay, plus year 1, 8929, year 2, 7974, year 3, 7117, and year 4, 6353. That means we have, net present value of today, is $5,373 we're in front. So there it is again, a little bit of a snapshot of what we've just covered, and this is for machine A. Let's look then at comparing machine A and machine B. That first line there, guys, we've got the periods for 12 and 12% rate of return. The A, machine A, future value, that second column should be machine A and present value. Then we've got machine B, future value, and machine B, present value. So the periods are 0 through to 4, and they are the percentages there, the rate of return for each of the years according to the table, yeah, that I showed you earlier. So looking at the future value of 10,000, bringing it back to present value for machine A, you can see that the total in the end is 5,380 if we invest in machine A. If we invest in machine B, however, you'll notice that when the same calculations are done with the different amounts of the present value, the future value and present value, the present value ultimately is 7653. So the net present value of both machine A and machine B are positive, which is great. And they're both acceptable based on the management's requirement of a rate of return of 12%. One machine must be chosen. So based on these figures, it makes more sense to select machine B because its estimated result is higher. So that's it for now. Easy, isn't it? It's fun whenever you break it down easily. Remember to grab your net present value handout, download it from the website realfocus.com.au, and follow along this video again as often as you like in your own time and in your own space. Look forward to seeing you again really soon. Trust that this has given you some clarity on how to calculate net present value. Staying inspired. Looking forward to hearing from you and seeing you in class. Have a great day.